The danger of artificial intelligence is that it's so good you simply can't resist, says expert. This is by Steiner Brathstel, Norwegian University of Science and Technology. And this is a beautiful picture, but why don't you just go ahead and count her fingers? Okay, there's just too many fingers on both hands. Now, Inga Strump does not believe artificial intelligence will take over the world with killer robots, but it might kill your spark. This is an area that needs rules, and Europe is about to get them. Her office is not necessarily boring, but the cell-like room behind the glass door at NTNU does not exactly reveal that this is the base of one of Norway's most renowned researchers either. Associate Professor Inga Strump has become a kind of guru for people who are interested in artificial intelligence in Norway, partly because of her book Machines That Think, but mainly because she likes to share what she can with the rest of us. The European Union is now introducing new stricter rules for the use of artificial intelligence, the so-called AI Act. As an EEA member, Norway will likely adopt the same rules. I'm not a fan of regulation for regulation's sake, says Strunk. However, she sees several reasons why Norway should participate. Norway is part of Europe and the world, and is politically important that we continue to work closely with the EU on these issues. But beyond the purely political aspects, the AI Act is important for you and me. We should not have AI that exploits people weaknesses, she says. The use of AI that can be dangerous or unfair will be subject to much stricter regulations than uses that appear to be more innocent. Some uses will simply be prohibited in the EEA and EU, and you can see a similar summary in the fact box below. The rules will protect consumers. They will ensure that we are safe and can trust the use of AI, says Strunk. What if we don't get any rules? Would it really be such a big deal if these rules were not put in place? Everyone knows that rules can be annoying. We could also ignore traffic rules. Everyone could drive as fast as they wanted, for a short time that is, until something goes horribly wrong. AI is such a strong commercial force. When ChatGPT was launched, it just took 5 days before it reached 1 million users, says Strunk. ChatGPT is currently the most famous chatbot. Numerous pupils and students have already taken shortcuts by using it. We're not yet finished dealing with the use of AI in the education sector. You don't really learn that much when you let AI do almost all the work, says Strunk. Regulations already in place. It's not the case that the rest of the world will necessarily adhere to the same strict regulations as the EU and Norway. For example, what is to stop China or the US from having more relaxed regulations and thereby possibly gaining a competitive advantage? Nothing. We cannot prevent other countries from having different rules. But it's a myth that only the EU regulates the use of artificial intelligence. Earlier this year, the United States already had 58 different regulations for the use of artificial intelligence, albeit distributed across various states, but it's not a free-for-all elsewhere either. We have to choose a type of society we want to live in. The EU has had a tendency to set a precedent for others, says Strunk. The EU often leads the way. Other parts of the world often follow the same path that is taken by the EU. Strunk illustrates this by showing the USB-C cable, the new standard for charging cables in much of the world. It was recently introduced despite a lot of initial protests from technology companies. This means that we avoid having piles of different charging cables lying around. One type is enough. As an additional benefit, USB-C transfers the most data and power, and the cable can be used in either direction. We can thank the EU for making the USB-C the standard. Similarly, much of the world has followed the EU's General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR, which gives us all greater control and rights over the type of information companies can collect about us. She believes the same thing could happen regarding artificial intelligence regulations as well. Machines that think. Just a couple of years ago, the most advanced AI would probably not have envisioned that an artificial intelligence expert could become a sort of research celebrity. This has not, however, led to her having any prima donna tendencies, and that might be part of the secret. Inga Strunk speaks so clearly that you almost think you understand what her work involves, but just one glance at her computer screen is enough to make you realize that she's not exactly sharing everything she knows with us. It's full of programming language. She's actually a physicist with a PhD in particle physics, but she has concentrated on artificial intelligence in recent years. Her specialization is machine learning, which involves training artificial intelligence and explaining artificial intelligence. The latter deals with what artificial intelligence is actually understood and where this knowledge originates from. But that's not what she's best known for. Lately, if you live in Norway, you must have been living on another planet if you haven't seen her on TV or in some newspaper. She has decided to prioritize public information while still spending a lot of time on research. Earlier this year, her book, Machines That Think, had been on the Norwegian Booksellers Associated Bestseller list for a whole year, but it was not originally her idea to write it. Someone at the KAG Forlag publishing house was smart enough to ask her, and after some guarantees that it would not be a waste of time, she started writing. The book was finished after 6 months of writing and 3 months of back and forth with the publishers. No Terminator, but Inga Strunk not worried that AI-driven killer robots will soon take over the world, but the massive, rapid advance in AI still present may have problems. She's afraid that we will lose our spark. We have always been used to slumping down in front of a TV being entertained, but that is not the same as what is happening now. Many people are sedentary all day long, she says. These services give such good recommendations that they know you so well that you simply can't resist. Various entertainment services and social media quickly learn what we like and simply feed us more of it, and suddenly you realize you've been sitting and watching TikTok or YouTube much longer than you intended, and this is worse than coercion. These services give such good recommendations that they know you so well that you simply can't resist, she says. The services are able to do this because they collect information about you. Almost all of us have clicked on the buttons that give them permission to do so, and then it becomes legal. The new EU regulations can make this data collection more tricky, at least when it comes to using the information to keep us hooked in front of the screen for hours on end. Strunk herself hardly uses social media anymore. Well, apart from Instagram, she's far too busy anyway. Who gets your vote? Political elections are also influenced by artificial intelligence. The most entertaining politician can get the most attention. It's nothing new, but disinformation can be spread through deep fakes, image manipulation, and targeted fake news. Messages can be specifically tailored for individuals or groups using AI and social media, and this is something more problematic. This is provided by the Norwegian University of Science and Technology on Tech Explore by Steinar Branslet. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support. Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.